Very good morning to all the faculties and students. Today we are going to discuss about drafting and filing of provisional patent application. As during the 7 semesters of your B, you have did exercise what we called PSAR, that is Patent Search and Analysis Report Generation. Now, what is an outcome of this PSAR? You have studied 5 patents related to your topic. So ultimately, to do the application of this PSAR, GTU has come out with this new exercise that is known as PDE, that is Patent Drafting Exercise, wherein you have to consider that your invention, that means your IDPs or UDPs, whatever you are doing at your level, satisfy the criteria of patentability, and accordingly, if you would like to file the patent, how to draft different forms as per the requirement of Patent Office of India, that exercise we have to do. And to do so, initially in my session I will cover the basics of drafting and the key features of drafting of patents, do's and don'ts about the drafting, and in another session you will learn about how to fill up the online forms that GTU has created using some web platform. So let's begin with the exercise name as Patent Drafting Exercise, that is PDE, and let's begin with the overview of drafting. So I will start with the basics of the criteria for patentability, then drafting of patent, then drafting of provisional, followed by little bit about the complete, then how to file, and another procedures, that is a e-filing procedure which is available in India. I will give just brief overview about the same also. So let's understand first about the criteria of patentability. So your IDP UDP projects should fulfill these 3 fundamental principles for patentability, that is known as a principle of 3I. So first I belongs to innovativeness, that means novelty, and to check the novelty you have did patent search exercise. Along with that you have also did review of literature related to your IDPs and UDPs. So that part is I think already over. The second important criteria is inventive steps, that means non-obviousness, and third is industrial utility or say usefulness. Now let's understand the second criteria, non-obviousness. That means if your invention is pertaining to some problem related to say gearbox mechanism, you have identified some problems and you identified some solutions for the same, but when you discuss the same problem with some auto garage person who might be only the 10th standard failed, if he says also, okay, by doing little bit modification in the gearbox I can also able to achieve the same desired outcome, that means though he is not technocrats, he has not studied any engineering books, but just by mere the experience he can also able to solve the problem which you have solved at your level. So in this perspective we can say your invention is obvious, so that means it is not satisfying the second criteria of patentability. So you have to check your invention with this angle also. And third, that is very important, your invention should fulfill the criteria of industrial applicability, that means it should possess usefulness. Then and then only we can say that your invention can be patentable. So these are the three very important criteria to go ahead for a patent. Now, as per the statutory definitions of invention as per Indian Patent Act under section 21J, it means a new product or a process involving an inventive step and which should also capable of industrial application, what already we have discussed in the previous slide. Second criteria, that is inventive steps, that means non-obviousness. Under that, as per the statutory definition, your invention should either involve technical advancement as compared to the existing knowledge or having economic significance or both. So it is not required that always your invention should be technically advanced. If it satisfies the second criteria, that means economically significance as compared to the existing technology available in the market, then also you can able to satisfy the second conditions or say criteria, that is inventive steps or say non-obviousness. If it is possess both, there is always it is a better advantageous. Next, new invention. To whom we can say the new inventions? As per the under section 21L, it means any inventions or technology which has not been anticipated by publication in any documents anywhere in the world, used in the country or elsewhere in the world. So your invention should be novel across the world. Sometimes it might be possible that the invention or a project on which you are working may be novel at Indian context, but suppose somebody in China, somebody in US, somebody in Russia has already worked upon the same, they might have some publications or a patent in their country, they don't have anything about the same in India, then also as per this definition of new invention, your invention is not satisfying the criteria laid down by the patent office. So accordingly, though you might be the first one in India who came out with this said invention, which is not existed in Indian continent, but you are not eligible to get a patent, right? So you have to understand that you have to think globally, but you have to act locally. Next definition of capable of industrial application under section 21AC. So in relation to an invention, it means that the invention is capable of being made or used in an industry. So ultimately, whatever invention you are working upon, it should possess the capacity of industrial application. Then and then we can think to go ahead for a patent. Over and above, in India, out of these three patentability criteria, another section 3 and section 4 are available, which tells us about non-patentable subject matter. Under that, there are subsection A to subsection P, but out of all of this, section 3F, which is more relevant to the engineering kind of the invention, so I am just give some emphasis on section 3F. What it tells us? It tells mere arrangement or rearrangement or duplication of non-device, each functioning independently of one another in a known way, that is not patentable. Okay, I think let me go to the example directly. This is again a statutory explanation, but let me give an example so that what section 3F tells us, it will get much more clearer. Say for example, one applicant of patent, he came out with an invention, umbrella with fan. This application he made to the Patent Office of Mumbai in 1973. So I am talking about the case which was happened before almost 40 years. So umbrella with fan, at that time this invention satisfied the first criteria, that means novelty, because it was not available anywhere in the world. Then second criteria, non-obviousness. The idea was also non-obvious because nobody has think of or nobody has came out with such invention anywhere in the world. So it satisfies the second criteria also. And third criteria, that is utility, industrial application. It also do possess. The reason behind, once the such product available in the market, consumer will appreciate this product, because now instead of only in the rainy season, consumer can use the said umbrella with fan also in the summer season. So instead of 4 months, consumer can use for 8 months this invention. So this invention satisfy all the three criteria laid down for the patentability. But when examiner did examination of this application, they cite section 3F, and accordingly they reject the application of applicant. The reason they have given, okay, your umbrella for which you have given on and off switch, it is working independently, and the fan that you have attached again in this umbrella, the switch is given separately. So both are working independently. So you have did just mere the combination of A plus B, umbrella with fan. So if it is a mere combination, accordingly as the definition of section 3F state, it will not allow. So accordingly the application of this gentleman was rejected at that time. But my dear friends, today as technology has advanced, we can do little bit modification in the same, and we can make the said invention patentable. Now how to do so? That is a question. Okay, let me tell you, if we can make a common switch of umbrella and fan by using some electronic circuits, so that once the switch get on, umbrella will also open and fan will also start rotating, and once you again off the switch, umbrella should get closed and automatically simultaneously fan should also get switched off. So by this way, if you can make this both A and B dependent on each other, the said invention also can be patentable. But at that time, before 40 years, this electronics and communication was not so much developed. So that's why this gentleman was failed to go ahead in this application, right? But now, due to the technology, we can think of making the different embodiments dependent on each other. So you have to also see in your case, if the different embodiments A, B or more than that you have combined in a single invention, they should be dependent on each other, they should not be independent, right? And still there are other examples, but I'm just going ahead to the next slide. So now question comes, okay, do you possess patentable invention? So far we have seen the criteria of patentability: novelty, non-obviousness, industrial utility, and our invention should not fall under the non-patentable subject matter as per the Indian Patent Act. If our invention pass through this or for filter medium, I can say it is a filter medium, your invention has to pass through. If it is successfully passed through, that means now you can proceed to file your patent. But for this exercise, we have to consider that all of your invention should pass this 4 filter medium. Now what to do next? The next thing we have to do, we don't have to wait, we have to file the patent application as soon as possible, because in India we follow first to file rule, right? That means whosoever file application first, his right gets secured first. So let's start drafting of patent. And drafting of patent is nothing but one kind of scientific art. Now which are the pre-filing requirements? So before start patent filing procedures, you should have all these different elements mentioned in these slides ready with you. The first element, that is title of invention. So you have to define the title of your patent first. The title which you might have used for your IDP, UDP projects it may not be directly suitable for the patent because there are certain criteria laid down by the patent office. I will also give you some examples and overview about the same requirements for the title as per the patent office. So accordingly you have to redraft your title and you have to make it ready. The second thing, you should be ready with your brief descriptions of inventions, then detailed description. If your work is already over, then you should also keep ready your detailed description. Next part is a claims, but as far as this exercise of provisional patent application is concerned, claims are not required. Then abstract part, that means a brief summary of your invention, but again for the provisional patent application it is not required, so that's why it is mentioned may or may not be required. Then figures related to your invention, it is again not mandatory, but it is advisable that if you can represent your invention with some figures, that will make examiner's mindset very clear about your invention. So the chances of getting queries and rejections would be minimized if you can add some schematic figures. Then comes the name of inventors and name of applicants. Now who can be named as an inventor? So as per the statutory definitions of the inventors as per Indian Patent Act, any person who has intellectually contributed for the said invention, he or she should be named as an inventor. So here the word intellectual contribution is very important. You have to give the name of only those individuals who have intellectually contributed. It may be your mentors, it may be yourself with your other team members who have intellectually contributed, but the person who have just assisted you to make the different instruments or related items ready for your invention, so they should not be named, right? It may be your lab technician, it may be your lab attendant who have just assembled everything for you, but who have not did anything intellectually for the said invention. They should not be named. Only the person who have intellectually contributed, they should be named.